at noon. And I will need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
But we have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Okay, we are in special session.
First we have the tax rate levy for the 16-17 school year, and I want to explain what that is. The purpose of the special meeting is to conduct a public hearing in which citizens may be heard on property tax rates proposed to be set by the Sikeston R6 School District, and for the board to consider the tax levy for the 2016-2017. The notice of hearing has been published as provided by law. I'm recommending to the Board of Education that the board, by motion, move to conduct a public hearing as requested by the notice of the hearing. So by roll call vote, we need to go into this.
Go into
We
it.
need to move to so move.
Okay, we have a motion
Second.
and a second to go into a hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Drury? Let's go to Hyman's Block.
I answer to it.
Mr. Crumback?
Yes.
Ms. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Flatt? Mr. Gleason? Yes.
Okay, the first item under required action is consideration of the resolution for early redemption of general obligation bonds in the amount of $220,000. Ms. Boardman?
This has kind of become common for us at our tax hearings each year, and it's because we're in a position when we passed the levy for the Math and Science Center. The projection at the time, it would take 21 cents to fund that, and as we've had opportunity to call the bonds and refinance the bonds over the years and pay off some money, we've realized huge interest savings. And we have an opportunity to do that. This may be the last time. We may be getting to the point that we can't, but we have an opportunity to pay off. We have the money in the account. We have the opportunity to pay off the $220,000. One, that saves us almost $9,000 in additional interest. There's no penalty when we refinanced. I believe it was May that the board refinanced their bonds. We made sure we had the option to do early payoffs without penalty, so there's no penalty. This is just simply paying off something early, saving us some interest on the back end. What that also does for the Board of Education, as you're looking at future building options that may come up, this allows you to keep your 21 cents in that debt service levy. As I've explained in the past, the state auditor format that you do, you put in your assessed valuation, and for debt service you look and you're able to keep 2 years of reasonable payments. And in order to keep 21 cents on, we need to have payments that will be mandatory of drawing that 21 cents in. So this is win-win. We're staying at the level that we told taxpayers we would stay at. It gives you an opportunity to keep some debt service levy in there for some future building issues as they might come up in the near future, and we save interest. So it's really win-win all around.
Well, I'm just curious, does early payoff have an effect on our bond rating?
Oh, it helps.
It
We
does help.
already had the best rating because of public school, because we have very little debt. So we already had a really good rating, but yes, it continues to look good financially as we go forward.
What's our balance?
Need a
That's all right.
motion to accept the resolution.
Early
Come
payoff.
later. I just was drunk.
So we would entertain a motion to approve the early pay down of our bonds. So we'll have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, does this have to be roll call?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Chan?
Yes.
Mr. Drew?
Yes.
Mr. Crumback?
Yes.
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 Motion carries.
We have the consideration tax rate levy for the 2016-2017 school year.
And again, with the state auditor format, the formula that's in place, I included it on BDocs. It's 5, 6, 7 pages worth of formulas where you put in the assessed valuation. Of course, in our situation, we put in both New Madrid and Scott County. As I explained to the Board of Education and some of the talking points that were sent out earlier, we did see a decrease, a large decrease in personal assessed valuation for Scott County that was not on our radar at all. In fact, I will come to you in September for a budget adjustment on revenues, because even if this tax levy passes today, we're still going to come in about $200,000 in revenue less than what we had projected, because at the time of the budget, I had talked to everyone and we thought we were good, and I was projecting a 2% growth on average for the two counties. But the formula is set up in the state auditor's formula is set up so that you can maintain, as a school district, you can maintain a revenue stream. And the formula did exactly what it was supposed to do. We saw a loss in assessed valuation, and we had very limited new construction that was outside of a tax increment financing, which we don't collect taxes on. So when we plugged all of the numbers in, we have an voter-approved tax ceiling for an operating levy of $3.68, and that's been in place since the early 90s. So we can go up to that without going to the taxpayers for a vote. So that levy fluctuates. This will be the highest levy that we've proposed. This is a nickel increase, just over a nickel increase, and it would set us at $3.65 for operating, but that's still just keeping us at flat revenue from the prior year, which is what the formula is supposed to do. So next year, if the assessed valuation goes up historically, then we can take the levy back down. But this keeps us at a flat revenue stream based on last school year. And probably 7-8 years ago, a statute changed that the reason for the odd amount, that we don't round to just, like an even amount, we take it out to 4 digits. It's because if you have any voluntary rollback off of that, you can't recoup that for 2 years. So sometimes those fractions of a cent have hurt some school districts, so it's the recommendation that you just do that out to the total 4 decimals that you're allowed. So it would be the recommendation of the administration to take the formula calculated amount. Those amounts are, by the way, once we do the calculations here, we do send those to the state auditor's office for them to go through the information and approve those rates being compliant under the limitations that we have, and they did come back approved as of August the 17th.
And was that the reduction in assessed value, was that just Scott County, did you say?
Yes.
That was personal property.
Personal
Yeah.
property.
Any commentary would that come from the assessor as
Yes.
to what it was?
We had some information.
I saw put
Yeah, those footnotes, something
Complained
about
Yeah. There was
people getting rid of their toys because of the
Yeah, no,
land
that
closing.
was her quote, not mine.
Yeah.
But because actually, now we had,
I didn't read
in
that.
2015, that's okay, I'll go through it in just a second. In 2015, we had a big growth in personal property.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And that was a reassessment year, so we didn't think too much in a reassessment year. A lot of times you will see growth in both areas. But I went back and we had had a large growth the prior year. So we had had 2 big years of growth in Scott County for personal property, so we had nothing on the radar. But there was, personal property was up $10.3 million in 2015, and then we had almost a $4 million drop this year. Automobiles were down $600,000, boats were down $7,000, RVs down $33,000. Someone had a claim that they questioned the assessed valuation of that. That alone was $500,000. Overall business equipment was down over $3 million, with Do It Best and Good Humor Briar making up $2.5 million of that particular segment of loss. And
So they sold equipment? Is that?
they sold and they didn't get new. She said virtually none of the big companies bought any new equipment. And then she did make a comment that she just, what they were on the RVs and the cars and the boats and the different things, is that they just thought that had a lot to do with the Noranda closing, and that she just thought people had got rid of, again, her words not mine, their toys. But the odd thing about that, and I didn't go into this with Scott County because they don't care, but the odd thing about it is we had growth in personal property in New Madrid County.
That's
So-
what I noticed. You know, that's contrary to her comment.
well, and the timing on that too
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense, because you would have filled out your form
January
Yeah,
15th.
before all that happened, so.
Yeah.
Now, we've got our first notice of the drop, let's say around the 7th or 8th of July. And that came from the county clerk, because they're the
mentioned that
send,
one of the meetings.
they give us, that's right, Mr. Williams shared that with you all. And so we got the first round, and what I was told at that time from the county clerk's office, and I was told to follow up with the assessor, is that a lot of the big companies in town had not turned in their property listings. So I don't know if they didn't wind up getting some of those, but this was my direct conversation with the assessor's office and the explanation that I had. Now, I was told that if we want a more detailed report, they would try to check with their programmers and see what they could get out, and I will be glad to follow up if the Board of Education would like that. I told the assessor that I would talk with you all at this meeting. And if you all want that information, then we will see what they can come up with as far as a printout.
Do you think it'd be worthwhile to explore?
She hit the highlights on this, but again, I don't know I would be glad to get the report. I don't know if we'll still have any rhyme or reason as to why. I mean, we can see where the numbers went down. I don't know if we'll have any rhyme or reason as to why they went down.
I guess if both of them went down, that would be understandable, but,
I feel
with
really
the matter
bad.
going so far up.
It hit me out of the blue. This was nothing. Y'all know I'm very conservative on revenues, and 2% should have been a conservative number.
There's a lot of houses going up over in New Madrid County right now, though. All the
Yeah.
houses they put up here,
It's
plantation,
quiet.
the duplexes and
It's
stuff
still
like that, so.
It's,
Right?
All right.
I mean, so it doesn't make any sense to go down.
Well,
Go
so ours,
down.
they didn't get rid of
population.
It's until what, January, February?
It's almost.
And sometimes
Yeah.
when one person is successful at challenging,
They don't populate that.
and so if you had somebody come in and dispute, but I have $1 million on a plane, then that sometimes will trigger. I've heard that from other school districts. Then it becomes the norm for people to protest. And then,
So do we have any idea what assessed valuation would be on current TIF projects that are in the phase of paying down their improvements, when those would roll out and how much?
I don't know if I have one to roll out. I had
Those aren't our
But
district.
does like.
Well, the Holiday Inn Express is.
But do all those things that they're doing.
Like the movie theater and all that stuff out there.
That's
Where your property
North of
value.
town.
Yeah,
But there's-
currently we have 2.2 million in TIF for New Madrid County and
We're saying that that's.
just over 3 million for Scott County. Now, Scott County rolled off a big chunk of theirs 2 years ago, and we realized we benefited from that.
Still about
Every-
$5 million.
Yes,
And
and New Madrid's has come on the books in the last 4 or 5 years, so
that would
it's
be,
very
that
new.
would be the Coltons and the Holiday
Kind
Inn.
of like
Yes,
a
that's very new.
combination.
The recommendation is to set the operating levy for 2016-2017 at $3.65.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any
That's
discussion?
the operating number, correct?
Yes.
Yes, operating levy.
Seeing none, roll call vote. Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Ms. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Grumbaker?
Yes.
Ms. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Blanton? Mr. Wilson? Yes.
And then, I guess just for the record, we need a motion, even though we've done the approval of the 221 cents for debt service, based on the early payoff of 220,000.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any discussion? Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Ms. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Grumbaker?
Yes.
Ms. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson? Yes.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have, we're scheduling an executive session to discuss student and personnel matters.
So we'll need a motion to go into executive session. So moved. Is there a second? Any discussion? Seeing none. Mr. Tanner?
Yes.
Ms. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Grumbaker?
Yes.
Ms. Stewart?
Yes.
Ms. Blanton?
Yes.
Mr. Wilson? Yes. All right.
Thank you all.
Thank you all very much, and we are.
Shannon, you're probably the only one that needs to stick around.
Executive session.
Thank you.
Hey,
Did you get
Lauren.
everything signed?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
You put that in there. Agree. Yeah. I
Did Lynn
was
sign
gonna
in?
say something about that. 3.65.
Or you can grab this.
Hey, Lori, were you?
Oh.
Sign. I'll send you back.
We have a camera.